All right, guys, welcome back to Snapchat Podcast. We have episode 5, and today we have the amazing...
Hey everybody, my name is Leila Collins, and I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you for being here. We're excited to have you here.
Yeah, we're excited. When we started this podcast, like I was saying, like you were one of the first people that we wanted to have on because we had so much footage of you. You've just been through so much in your journey of modeling and just like your social media. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, we wanted to get to know more about your story and just kind of everything you've kind of done to this point.
Well, you will today, yeah.
And didn't I hear earlier that one of your first shoots and things that you've done was with Isaac when you started recording and doing a lot of content stuff with fashion too?
Yeah, with Corella & Co.
Yeah. When I first started modeling, I first started out with their development program before I kind of really got any work or anything. Yeah. And when it came to my graduation, we did a denim campaign, and he was the videographer for that, and it turned out amazing. So
how did you find out about them? Like, did you want to start being a model like when you joined there, or like what was that when you first joined?
Well, so I did a family photo shoot, and then at that moment, I kind of realized I was like, okay, maybe I could model, maybe I could get somewhere with this. So I was just kind of looking around at stuff in the Valley on Instagram and stuff, and I signed with the young agency, and I'm not really 100% sure like how necessarily I found out. I think I found out about Corella & Co. when I went to Tempe Fashion Week, or maybe I had already known about them at that time, but after Tempe Fashion Week, their first ever show, I was like, okay, yeah, I want to be with Corella & Co. They put on fire stuff, and they seem like a really cool development program. Mm-hmm. So I got with them, and yeah, I graduated 12 months later. So
how was that process of like learning to model with them?
It was really fun. They were really welcoming. I was their only second class, so we had a lot less kids in our class, so it was more like one-on-one.
Okay,
so
nice.
I definitely learned a lot. We worked a lot on walking, and I don't think I've ever walked so much in a week.
Especially
it was
in heels and all that.
Yeah, it was a lot. They taught me posing. Everything I know, really, I learned from Corella & Co. They taught me how to stay away from scammers, everything you need to know about the industry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everything that you really need to know starting out in the industry, they taught me, and I'm really grateful for that. So
awesome.
I love the full circle of like you guys working together, and now we're here at the podcast.
Yeah,
cool. That was also
Yeah.
one of my first like campaign shoots too, because I had worked with Corella & Co. once before then, but that was like with my older camera, like it wasn't as good. And then that one was where I got this camera, like the A7S III, and then that's when I was like, I want to find something to where I can film, and then they hit me up, and it ended up being my first shoot with my brand new camera
so cool,
too. So a lot of things just worked out that day.
Yeah, it ended up being a fire campaign.
Yeah, no, it was dope. One of my best videos, honestly, like the whole transitions of it and like the way it was honestly
vibes,
like I love that video so much.
Yeah, I like
it's
the
one of my
filter
best.
over it too. Like everything about it is just like so model-esque. I don't know how to describe it. I love it.
It's for sure one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Now you guys are having your moment, I'm trying to figure out how we started working together. The first time that we actually met and worked. What show or like what?
I think I saw you at the Barrett Jackson casting. Because I had like seen your photos around on Instagram and stuff, and then I did Barrett Jackson with AZ Fashion Week, and then I went to their audition and I saw you there, and then I kind of started doing shoots with you. I don't really know how exactly it happened.
That's what I'm trying to figure out too. Like we've worked together on a lot of different stuff. We're trying to pinpoint that first one. I'm like, ooh, where was it? Because we've also known each other for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely see each other's work.
Yeah.
Which show was that? Like the Barrett Jackson, but which year?
The
and
first.
Who'd you walk for?
I walked for Colleen.
I remember that show. Yep.
Yeah, they were black and white. Yeah. I think it was either their second.
It was their first year.
Yeah,
well, it was after their first year, their show, and then their first.
Yeah,
Barrett
and
Jackson.
then so I did the first Barrett Jackson. I didn't do this one last year, but yeah, so we did that, and then I did AZ Fashion Week, and then after that is when we really started to like work together a lot.
Yeah.
And then we did the hummingbird shoot, but I really can't think of the first.
Hummingbird one, yeah.
Yeah, that one was fun. And then the
remember
crochet.
one of the calling show, the shots with the backstage, and I think you had
the Mercedes necklace.
Necklace. And I remember we were joking and talking about how like that looks like a mini Colleen.
Oh yes, everyone kept coming up to me and being like, Colleen.
'Cause of the
Now
fur?
turn around. Yeah, and the hair too, because we both had the long braids.
And blonde hair.
Yeah,
at the time,
and
yeah.
at
That's
the
funny.
time I couldn't really see it. Like I was like, do I really like? I know I'm not that short. Colleen's a little short, but
had the
no, my
whole
mom took a
aura
picture
of
of us.
her.
Yeah, my mom took a picture of us, and I was like, oh wow.
I just remember like seeing you about to walk. I'm like, why is Colleen walking her own show?
It's funny.
Well, I mean, she would have done great either
Yeah,
way.
she would. She
yeah.
kills it every time.
Yeah.
So how was it like after you're done with Corella & Co? You learned kind of every step of modeling. Like, what was the next step after that? What did you do?
I think the next step was honestly just trying to get my face out there more and just do more shows. I was doing a lot of shows at that time to just get more recognition, get photos, meet new people. And after Korea, obviously, like through Korea, I made a lot of new connections and I made a lot of friends that I still have to this day.
Yeah.
So I think after that, I was really just trying to build my portfolio and stay busy. I started doing acting. That's when I went to IMTA, and that's kind of where my whole acting thing started. So I was kind of just really trying to get into the industry with everything that I could.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like, yeah,
You're killing it,
we're
by the way.
killing it, especially on social media, like
Thank
everything
you.
you've been doing. I was like, wow, this is just
Thank
crazy
you
how
guys.
everything elevated.
Yeah.
Every time I see, it's like, oh, here's another show. Here's another acting gig. Here's I'm like, okay, you're
I know,
everywhere.
yeah. It was a lot, especially with school. Thankfully now I'm graduated, so I can really just take time to like focus on everything because it's hard, especially when you're in high school, because like you just want to graduate, but like you also just want to like go with your career. So it's hard. Like it's like, okay, do I focus on school, which like, do I really need school and I'm going to this career, or like
Yeah.
do I focus on my career and forget about school and possibly not graduate on time? Like, so it was just a lot. I mean, yeah, my head was kind of all over the place.
How did you find that balance for yourself? Like, what was your process?
Well, I didn't even honestly have a process. I was missing a lot of school. Like, I was missing so much school. It was actually insane. I remember I checked my absences, and for my school, once you get 11 absences, you have to go to the office and, like, get an appeal to, like, not lose your credit. Like, once you hit 17
Whoa.
absences, you don't have a credit. And that's for the whole semester. For the first semester, I had 23 absences.
Wow.
So, and I never even got called down to the office or anything. So I was honestly really surprised that, like, I got all good grades and I did all my work, and it also really helped like having a lot of stuff online, so I was able to do some of my stuff like if I was traveling for work or anything. But I usually tried to just kind of make most of my work be on the weekends in order to get like most of everything, but there was definitely those times where I had stuff on the weekdays and I would just do it and catch up with my work. Yeah, and hopefully I would
Okay.
get it done. But I ended up graduating with all A's and B's, which is
Still,
very
yeah.
good for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so much on your plate.
Yeah.
That's wild. So,
what kind of advice would you give to younger models who are trying to find that balance? Like they want to pursue acting and modeling, but you got to prioritize school, and then like what advice would you give them?
I would just say priorities come first, honestly. I mean, because for me, like, especially this year, because I was so focused on, like, okay, I need to graduate if I want to keep doing this. Like, because it's just, if I don't graduate, then I'm just going to feel, like, totally left behind, and, like, it's going to completely set me back. So I would just say prioritize everything. You know, if you have, like, a big audition coming up, make sure you get that done and do your homework right after that. Like,
Yeah.
also, if you can, try to do all your work during class time, because that is what I did, and it'll make it a lot easier for you. So if you go home and you have stuff you need to do once you get home, just, you know, you can do that and you won't have to worry about schoolwork and stuff.
sure.
Yeah.
Don't procrastinate.
Yeah, don't procrastinate. I'm really bad at that, but I always make it around, so.
Right. So, like, when did you kind of start your modeling career of, like, shows, of, like, your first walking show? Like, what year did that start?
My first year that I started modeling. So my first ever fashion show was Teen Fashion Week, because I was signed with the Young Agency and they put on that show. And it was, I don't remember the exact month, but it was 2021. And after that show, I think then I went to go see Tempe Fashion Week.
Okay.
And after that moment, I was kind of like, okay, I want to start doing more fashion shows. And I can't remember what my next fashion show was after that. But I just remember showing up to anytime I saw a fashion show audition, I would just show up to any audition, and if I got it, I got it. If I didn't, I didn't.
So how was that? Because like, I mean, you weren't 18 yet and you were going to these fashion casting shows. Like, how did that feel going? Like, did that get you out of your comfort zone? Like, how did you feel going to those?
It definitely did, because most of the time I was the youngest and the shortest. So I definitely had to go out there and really like give it my all if I wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
So it definitely like made me a lot more confident within myself and made me able to like push myself more, because it is hard like being a shorter model when you go to these fashion show castings and everyone's taller. Like, it does kind of beat you down a little bit, but you just have to go in there with more confidence than you've ever had, and that's really how you
keep your shoulders back, head up, and like
core tight, big strides. So
It's not phasing you at all. You're like, I got this.
yeah, I mean, I've done enough at this point. I know what to do. Yeah.
So like, kind of talk about all the fashion shows that you've been a part of. Like, how many have you done so far?
Oh my gosh. Well, the big shows, I've done a lot of little shows. The big shows I've done New York Fashion Week twice. I have done Phoenix Swim Week twice. I've done Orlando Swim Week. I have done AZ Fashion Week last year. I walked in all 3 of their shows. I did the Barrett Jackson Fashion Show. I've done a fashion show for Alvin Moore. I've done a show in Las Vegas. I've done a show in New Orleans, a show in Mississippi. I've done LA Fashion Week. I did that the first year I started. So many other shows. Planet Chic.
That's crazy. How did you feel when you were getting the invites to these? Like, did it feel unreal, or were you like, this is what I knew was gonna happen?
I wouldn't necessarily say I knew it was gonna happen, just because I am like shorter, so I always was kind of like, they're not gonna pick me. They're not gonna pick me. But after Correa, like, I was so confident with my walk that I was like, I know what I'm doing, and I know, like, I feel good within myself, and that's at the end of the day all that matters.
That's awesome.
I remember when I auditioned for the Young Agency Teen Fashion Week. My mom, she read me the email that I got it, and I literally started crying because I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my first fashion show ever. Like, I'm so excited. And after that, like, obviously I was still happy getting fashion shows, but I was doing them more and more and more. So, like, me getting one, it was, like, less and less, like, oh my gosh. But obviously, like, they're still great. I always love doing fashion shows,
Yeah, they're always just a dope experience.
Yeah. Which show would you say is, like, one of your favorite shows, or some of your favorite shows?
Arizona Fashion Week, for sure. I think they've so far put on the best productions, and they have amazing designers, the photos, really just everything. Especially because with all the other ones, it's like they say, like, obviously with New York Fashion Week and LA Fashion Week, that's different. They do shows throughout the whole week, but I feel like a lot of them, they don't do like more than one show. Like Phoenix Swim Week and stuff, they just do one show. But with Arizona Fashion Week, they do 3 different shows, and I think that's really cool because it kind of gives not even models but also designers an opportunity to really showcase. And just it adds a lot to.
And it's like way different too, because like all the other ones are just like back and forth.
Yeah.
Like what I liked about Arizona Fashion Week is that there was just so much.
It's a lot.
Just different.
Yeah,
like
it's way
walking.
more creative. Yeah.
So yeah, that I really liked the year too because of that. I was like, dude, this is so different. Like it's not like a regular fashion show.
And they do it at all different locations too.
I was just about to mention that too. Like every show is aimed to be like a unique experience. So it's like, even if you're going to multiple shows for the same fashion week, it's different every time.
Yeah.
At the air park and last year, and then the Chateau on the first year.
Yeah, the Chateau debut or whatever.
Chateau debut, what's like a favorite moment or iconic moment for you? Most memorable moment from a show?
Honestly,
story on that?
I know I keep talking about this, but it would have had to be my first fashion show. And not only just because it was my first fashion show, but my best friend, she was able to sing at that fashion show. And she has the most beautiful voice I've ever heard in my life. Like, she sounds like Billie Eilish, if not better. Like, it's just so beautiful. And just having her be able to be there and, like, sing, and, like, it was a big moment for her, too, because she's never really done any, like, singing jobs or anything. I've been trying to tell her, like, you need to do something with your voice. So having her there and, like, showcase her stuff, and then me showcasing my stuff, like, it was just such a great moment, and it was so great for our friendship, too. And, like, I'll always remember that. And
that's awesome.
It was really, like, heartfelt, and just, I loved it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how is it like being at these shows, like what does it feel like walking? Like everybody's staring at you, you got like a nice outfit on. How does it feel going down that runway?
It feels great. It feels great, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I know, like, I'm a teenage girl, like having everyone look at me going down with my hair and makeup done in a fire fit, like it feels good. It feels good for sure. There's definitely those nervous feelings, like right before you get on, because it's like, okay, I'm always walking in 7-inch freaking heels. I'm like, what if I trip? That's happened to me once actually. I tripped at the end of the runway, and that was kind of embarrassing.
Which show was
Yeah,
that?
how'd you recover? Yeah.
That was my first. It wasn't actually like at the end of the runway. It was when I was walking off, and my mom was actually walking with me. It was in New York Fashion Week. I was walking for Marc Defang, and we were walking at the end, going off. And these were like This was the first time I'd ever walked in huge heels, and they were his heels, and they're pageant heels. So at the end, I like rolled my ankle a little bit, but I got right back up and I like turned around and smiled and like walked
Like it was
off.
intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But
Like I wanted you guys to look at me with that move.
yeah. But honestly, walking out in the runway, like, that's why I continue to do fashion shows, was because it's like such a great feeling. Like, you just feel like you're on top of the world. And I remember when I was at Tempe Fashion Week watching the models, I was just like, wow, like, I want to do that. I want to like have this feeling. Like, even watching them is just like, wow, like, you get such an intense feeling. It's just like walking out is 1,000 times better.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I will say that every time I see you walk on a runway, it stands out.
Thank
like,
you.
It's iconic. It's like there's so much power, and I just remember every time I see you on the runway, it's like, oh, we gotta make sure we get this shot. This is gonna be
Yeah,
this is gonna be an easy
yeah.
shot to get.
Thank you. I feel like I have to bring more power, especially as a shorter model, because, you know, everyone kind of just overlooks the shorter models unless you're really bringing it, you know? So that's what I got to do. I got to bring it.
Right.
You brought it.
So
Every
like
time.
you did like fashion shows for how many years up until you started like venturing into acting?
I did them up until this year. So I think the last fashion show that I did, I recently just did a fashion show with Easy Fashion Week. It was a smaller show on their industry night for Nava Swim.
Oh, yeah,
It wasn't
okay.
like huge fashion show or anything, but it was a fashion show. I
Oh, yeah,
was
I was there.
showcasing his swimsuits, yeah. But yeah, I've just kind of I'm still doing print modeling and stuff. Fashion shows are a lot. Obviously, everyone knows that. You got to be there all day, and, you know, you get hungry, you get tired, and you have to sit there with makeup on your face and pray that it doesn't sweat off by the time you go and walk out. And, like, it's a lot. And with as many that I've done, it's like, okay, I just kind of need to relax a little bit. I've got my time in with the fashion shows, so I'm
Yeah.
still doing print modeling and everything, but I'm really trying to focus more on the acting, because that's what I want to do long term, is be an actress, be in LA making movies and TV shows. So that's just kind of
Awesome.
what I'm trying to shift more into.
Has everything that you've done in modeling, has it helped you a lot in acting? Like, is
Yeah.
there correlations to that?
For sure. Because with acting, like, both acting and modeling, you have to be comfortable in front of the camera. And I think modeling is really what made me comfortable in front of the camera. So going into acting, it made it a lot easier, especially just kind of like being yourself, honestly. Like with modeling, obviously you don't want to be like completely yourself because, you know, that they don't really...
If you're too weird.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know, it just kind of made me a lot more confident, and like it made me, you know, think in my head, like, okay, I can do this. If I can do modeling, I can go in front of the camera and say a few lines. And especially because I always wanted to do acting. Like when I was younger, I never really thought about modeling as much, but I would watch shows and I'd be like, I want to be in movies. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to be in movies. And I started out modeling, doing photo shoots, fashion shows, and like just being in front of people and having your face in front of the camera and being filmed and everything. Like, it made it a lot easier going into the acting world, for sure.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, definitely. What is looking back? What are things you wish you knew about modeling and acting as well? Like things you wish you knew back then that would have helped you progress.
I would say to just really not care about anyone else's opinion, not in a bad way. Like, obviously take people's opinions into consideration, but like, I remember when I went to IMTA, I stood in front of an LA casting director, and she looked at me and was like, why is your hair like that? Why is your makeup like that? You look way too old. And yeah, it was really, I literally ran out of that room and I cried. And she was like, but go ahead and do your monologue. And so I did my monologue, and she was like, thanks. And I walked out and I started crying. And for that moment, especially like knowing everything that I've done now and just like kind of proving her wrong, I've just kind of been like, I don't really care what anyone else has to say. at the end of the day, this is my career. I'm doing what I'm doing, and if you have something to say it, but I'm not going to listen to it.
Yeah.
So that's just the advice I would give, is just to myself, future self, is just not care what anyone else thinks and just keep doing your own thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. So like, I also see that you're just on social media a lot, and like you've showed a lot of your progression through social media. Has that helped, like with people finding you through just socials?
Yeah, big time. I think everything I've booked is through Backstage and Instagram. Just not even like going. It's just when you like. When I'm doing more stuff and I'm getting posted on other people's accounts, and then their followers are seeing it, and then they're following me and then reaching out to me to do stuff. Like, I've done a lot through Instagram. Most of my photo shoots have been through Instagram, if not all of them. So yeah, Instagram is definitely a huge help. Facebook too. I just recently got on Facebook not that long ago, and I've been seeing like acting stuff on there. And I would say social media is definitely the new big upcoming thing, and people, if you want to be in the industry, you definitely need to be on social media. For sure.
For sure. It's like way different too from how it is today, rather than like a couple of years ago. Like really anybody and everybody needs to be on social and show that progression of their story.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't remember the last time I have one, but I have not used it. I don't remember the last time I saw a physical portfolio. Everyone's portfolios are online now. It's so your social media is your portfolio. So
yeah,
and that's like what I tell a lot of young models, actresses, whoever. It's like it's gonna be very difficult for you to grow your brand if you don't have a social media presence.
It is.
And they're like, well, I just don't like it. It's like, well, you gotta learn.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you don't like it, you gotta grow with the times. Like people nowadays, everything is through social media, branding, everything. Like you need to have a social media. You can't not if you want to become big in the industry. It's one of the main things.
Do you have like a plan with yours, or do you just like kind of upload anything you kind of have, or how does your social media game work?
Well, obviously I look for like, is it gonna match with like, is it, because at the end of the day, it is your portfolio. I want what I'm putting on my content to like, I want like my content to be good. I want it to be like up to par with, I want it to be, I don't want, because back in the day, like, I would put stuff out, like, just photos from my iPhone, just, like, take pictures. And I still do that sometimes, like, post, like, pictures of my life and stuff. But as my career is growing, I want my Instagram to be growing, too. So I want to, like, keep posting better pictures and better reels and stuff like that. So I just want to make it better and post more reels. And I really want to start getting into more reels. I've noticed that a lot of reels have been getting put out by a lot of people. And I don't know. I really am happy with my social media right now. I just want to keep posting content and keep updating with it, and yeah.
Yeah, no, again, like your social media is like super well, just all the pictures are super high quality and all that too.
Thank you.
It definitely looks like you have a plan with your social media strategy. It shows. It definitely shows.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what is kind of like the next steps you have? Like you've been through just so much with modeling now, and now venturing into acting. Like you said, that's kind of where you want to stay at, and like kind of all that world.
Yeah. Well, I've already done like a lot of stuff with acting. I've done 7 feature films, 4 music videos. So I've definitely been in the acting world for a while now. I would say almost 3 years. So in July, I start at the Lee Strasberg Film Institute in LA. So that's where I'm headed to next. I'm going to be moving out there in April. I have a feature film coming up in January called Purify, and I'm playing the lead character, which that should be really fun. It's a Christian-based film, and I'm going to get it done in 2 days. So that's and I'm literally, when I tell you, like, I'm practically the only character in this movie. So
is there like a long script that you have to memorize?
It's not a long script. It's just I have a lot of lines. Like I've had thicker scripts, like movies that are longer, but it's just I'm like the only movie or the only character really in this movie, so I have a lot more lines than I usually do. Because all my other movies, I've been like supporting roles and lead characters too, but this one, it's the character I have to play too goes through a lot, so it's definitely going to be one of the hardest roles I've ever done, if not the hardest. So I'm just kind of training for that right now. I need to get into the mental zone for that. I have a lot to do with that role, so that's kind of what I'm focusing on now.
What are the type of roles that you look for, that you're drawn towards?
What I'm drawn towards is definitely, I haven't done any of them yet, but definitely the comedic roles. I really, like my whole life, I love comedy. It's like my favorite thing in the entire world. I've watched all the Medeas by the time I was like 7 years old. Like that is my humor. Like if people ask me, what's your humor? Medea. Like, I don't know. I just like to make people laugh and just like bring laughter. So being in comedy, like it's just been one of my biggest dreams, and all my favorite actors are all comedic actors. But what I've done most, all my roles have been either a mother or a sexy, cute girlfriend. So it's kind of been like all drama related. So obviously I still want to do drama without a doubt, but I really want to start doing more comedy because that's like what I want to do the most with, my career. So.
Thanks for watching this episode, brought to you by Martini Mates.
Can't be bothered to make your own cocktails? Try Martini Mates ready-to-drink cocktails.
It's veteran-owned, gluten-free, dairy-free, and hassle-free. Check the website for a location near you. Cheers, mate.
Now back to the podcast. Nice. So what sets do you go for that? Like, is there certain locations that you kind of have to go to, or like, where do you guys make these type of movies?
A lot of the stuff that I've done has actually been out here. I also filmed in Cincinnati. I'm about to film the movie Purify in Orlando. So I've kind of done mainly everything out here so far. Phoenix, Tucson, Black Canyon City, kind of just all over Arizona. I'm definitely really trying to start doing stuff out in LA, especially if I'm going to be moving out there. I really want to start booking more work out in LA, and that's just kind of where my prime area is going to be. Since I'm going to be moving out there, I need to start getting more work out there.
Do you have like connections or like so we were just talking earlier how like networking and your social media helps you get clients and like gigs. Like, do these people? What was I like lost my train of thought right there.
I was gonna ask, like, what is your networking process, like finding gigs and finding the right people, right?
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Yeah. So like, how do you kind of find like these people that you're gonna work with? Like, how do you network with them?
I just honestly, I scroll through Instagram, and if somebody posts a shoot with a photographer that I haven't seen or anything yet, I'll follow them on Instagram, reach out to them, tell them I like their work. I do a lot of stuff through Instagram, scroll through Backstage, and if I see a job that I like, I'll usually go on Instagram and I'll follow the director and the production company. But that's just kind of how I find everyone. And obviously the events that I go to, I meet a lot of new people. Like, I have met so many people in these last few years. It's actually insane. Like, I never thought I would know as many people as I know at my age. But
were you like always outgoing, or like did you kind of learn that when you started meeting all these people?
Yeah, no, I've always been outgoing and like confident and everything, and like I've never really been the kind of shy type, but I just kind of stayed within my circle, people from school, my friends. I never really like went out of my way to like meet new people. But with this, like, you have to, it forces you to. So I've met a lot of new people, and I continue to meet people every single time. Like, every day, honestly, I follow somebody new. So yeah, I would just say keep scrolling and looking at people's pages, following, like, they're tagged, and anyone that I see, like, I have mutuals with, I'll just follow them usually.
That's good. So you still have like a plan for like everything too, because I think that's kind of how you have to progress. You can't really like rely on hoping that someone's gonna message you. You have to like go out there and like find these people and like talk to them.
You can't wait for the opportunity. You have to go find them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what is like Backstage? Like, you use that a lot?
Yeah, I've booked majority of my acting stuff on there. It's kind of like Actors Access and casting networks. You go on there and you find jobs and stuff. They have jobs for everything: singers, dancers, camera crew, really anything. And they have jobs all around the world, nationwide. So I've just been going on there, and I've been finding a lot of my stuff on there. They have a lot of local work too, but they have everything: UGC content, voiceovers, movies, shows, podcasts, reality shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that. Have you heard of that one?
I haven't heard of that
You
one.
guys should go on it. You guys
I've
will find
never
a lot
heard
of
of
stuff.
it.
They have a lot of videography stuff, a lot of photography stuff, so I would highly recommend getting on Backstage.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I'm like, ooh, I need to get on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never heard of it. Like,
Yeah,
what is
I'm
this?
not sure how much is it to pay for
It's $1,000.
but a year, but I
Oh,
mean
a year, that's
worth
not
it.
bad.
yeah,
if you're
and
doing
it's
that
worth
much.
it because I've made a lot out of it than what I've put into it. So I mean, I would say if you're trying to like look for local jobs, jobs out of the state, anywhere, Backstage for sure.
Still an audition process too.
Yeah, you go on there and you have to audition, and sometimes they'll like. Sometimes I've had people that they'll see my Backstage page and they'll reach out to me and ask me to audition for something. But most of the time, I just apply myself for jobs, and if they like me, they'll ask me to audition, and then it goes from there.
How nervous do you get at these auditions? Like, how do you prepare for the auditions? Your
Well,
process.
most of them are self-tapes. So 90% of the auditions that I've done are self-tapes, which really helps because, first of all, I can do multiple takes, so it's not as
Yeah.
stressful as like going in there and you have one shot to do it, and if you don't do it, then, well, yeah. But I think I've only done a couple auditions where I've had to go somewhere and do it, and honestly, I definitely get nervous, but you just have to really be confident with like what you're saying. And for me, it's actually really easy to memorize lines. Like my mom will give me an audition and I'll be like, okay, just give me 20 minutes and I'll be ready to film it like right
wow.
then. But yeah, just know your lines, honestly. If you're going into an audition, that's all you need to know. So
That's impressive. I can't.
Yeah,
I
right.
can't even film like a quick vlog video without like stumbling on words.
well, no, it definitely happens. I'm sitting behind the camera sometimes for a good 30 minutes trying to get this freaking audition done. But with me, it's like I need to do it in the first 2 takes because if I don't get it done in the first 2 takes, then that's when I start to mess up because then I start to get in my head too much and think about it too much. But
That makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, that's same with me too.
Do you have a process to get you out of like a funk or a rhythm? Like if you're messing up and then, but you feel like you have to stop, how do you get yourself back on track mentally to recover? Do you ever run into that
Like
problem?
take a
actually?
break.
I,
or,
u-
like,
I usually I don't really run into like an actual like I don't know. I feel like I literally just sit there and I'm like, okay, I got it. Like you can do it. Like this is the one. This is the one. And then I usually got it. But I've never really been in that situation where I literally like I'm like I can't do this right now. I just can't. Well, actually, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a big
this
lie
already.
because
Wow.
no, because it's not my fault. It's actually my mom's fault because I'll be doing one audition and she's like, just go ahead and do this one. You're already dressed up, and I'm like, no, Mom, I don't know this one yet. And she's like, come on, just do it. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then I try to do it, and I'm like, no, I can't do it right now. I can't. And I just get frustrated. And once I
One
start
thing
getting
at a time.
frustrated, I'm just like, okay, no, no,
That's funny.
I can't.
So what is like a role that like you want to be a part of, or like anything like in the future that you've been looking forward to?
Well, I just auditioned for a new series called Crownfall, which is kind of a mixture of like Bridgerton and
about
stuff,
that,
which
yeah.
I would love to do a character like that, like something that takes place in like the 1800s, and like I have to wear like some really cool big outfit and have
That's
my
like
hair all
avant-garde,
done.
avant-garde, right?
Yeah.
Avant-garde? Yeah, I know that term now.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, you just want to get dressed up. It's
Yeah,
like, you don't
literally.
care
That's
about
why
the role,
with
like-
fashion shows, I'd be like, the crazier the outfit, the better. Like, I would hate when models be like, oh, my outfit is so crazy, I don't like it. I'd be like, I don't care. Like, I'd want to walk out in something like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'd also really want to do like action. I've always told my mom like I want to learn how to do my own stunts so I can like do action stuff like Avengers and stuff. Obviously, I probably won't
that'd
be
be
in
sick.
the Avengers, but like I want to
You
like
never know.
yeah, you never know. But yeah, I just kind of want to like be in stuff that you wouldn't necessarily like not your everyday life, you know? Like
Yeah.
I've done a lot of movies where it's kind of just like everyday life, and I want to do stuff that you wouldn't necessarily see in the real world. I
Yeah,
guess.
like CGI stuff, like
Yeah.
actual like Marvel
Yeah,
and like superheroes.
yeah, like stuff that you would literally only see in a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that'd
want
be
to see
super
you on the
cool.
screen doing like fight scenes and
Yes.
stuff. You know? Just,
Oh,
like-
you will. My
Yeah,
next movie
just
coming out, I
fighting.
blow someone's head off. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
just
we're
wait
gonna
for
have
that.
to we're gonna have to watch that
Yeah.
one. So like all these movies, where are they being posted on, or where can people watch it?
Well, I only have 2 movies out as of right now. I have a lot that are still in the process of getting done. But Tubi is a big one.
Okay, yeah.
Tubi's free, so all the movies on there are free. Amazon Prime, also my movie Anarchy Radio is on Amazon Prime. But usually my movies that are put on Amazon Prime are also on Tubi, so either one. Amazon, you have to pay for it. Tubi's free.
Okay.
Usually also YouTube. One of my movies is on Tubi and YouTube, but YouTube is like the unedited version, I think. I don't really know, but yeah, really Tubi as of right now. Tubi and Amazon Prime, but
Sweet. Have you watched like how did it feel when you first like saw the thumbnail to it and then you clicked on it and started
well,
watching
it was
How
it was
that?
honestly weird, especially because like I would go onto Amazon Prime to watch movies, and like going onto Amazon Prime and seeing yourself, it's like what the hell? Like that's so cool. Like I don't know, like it's such like an unreal feeling. Like I always like forget like it's not normal for people my age to just be
Right.
in movies. Like
For be
it's
on
not a normal
Amazon
thing.
Prime.
Yeah,
like,
like
come
it's
on.
such like a normal
It's
thing
crazy.
for me now, like to just like film and be in movies. That like, it was also weird because I would go to school and people would be like, "Oh yeah, I saw your movie," and I'm like, ooh.
How was that like in school? Like, were you like one of the popular ones because of everything that you were doing?
Yeah, when your classmates like recognize you and like.
Oh, for
yeah.
sure, for sure. Well, I don't want to sound cocky and be like, yeah, for sure, I was popular, so because I wouldn't necessarily call myself like popular, but I got along with everyone. I didn't have like a specific friend group. I kind of was friends with everyone, and everyone knew that I modeled and act.
Yeah.
Because I started my freshman year and I did it all the way through senior year. So, and I was the only model / actress at the school. So everyone kind of just like knew me as like the model. And it's also really weird because my brother's little friends, like I would walk past them and be like, oh, that's the model. And I'd be like,
She's a star.
okay. Yeah,
That's
but
funny.
I've had people, I had this girl come up to me. I've never even seen this girl. I've seen her, but I've never talked to her or anything. I was like walking out of the bathroom and she was like with her friends and she was like, wait, don't you model? And I was like, yeah. She's like, I've seen you, you're really pretty. And I'm like, thanks. But it's just weird because all these guys, it was all guys too. I don't know why, but like guys would be like, yeah, I watched your movie. And like my first scene is a little bit risque, so I was like, ooh, that's kind of embarrassing. And like my teachers will ask me, be like, oh my gosh, so where can I watch your movie? And I'm like, guys, wait till I graduate, please. Just wait till I
Right.
graduate. I don't need to be walking through the halls and having all of you guys like see, like, I don't know,
That's
it's
funny.
cool, but it's also just like kind of embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. I wouldn't say it's embarrassing.
You
but,
just
like,
get it so often. You're like,
Yeah.
I've heard it already.
yeah,
like, you don't have
that
to
it was
remind
just
me.
like, I don't know, like just watching everyone, like I'm such like a big critique to myself, so like I don't know if they think like I'm a bad actress or what, so I'm just like, it kind of like
That's
cringes me
funny.
a little bit, and especially because I hate watching myself, so like me watching myself, I think that's how other people watch me, you know,
Oh,
if that makes
yeah,
sense.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like
it's kind
imposter syndrome is like
Yeah.
kind of that word for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
What question you got?
Actually, one question I did want to ask is, so we talked about like some favorite memories, right?
Yeah.
What are traumatic memories, like from shows or even from a casting or
Mm-hmm.
from acting? Something that's memorable. Doesn't have to be
Yeah.
traumatic, but just something that you're
That
like,
you
I'm
laugh
never-
about nowadays,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah,
like, I can't.
well,
I'm never gonna
definitely
forget
that one
that.
that I mentioned earlier about that LA agent when she completely
yeah.
tore me apart. I mean, I walked in there and I had my hair slicked in a low bun. I was wearing barely any makeup, and I was 16 at the time. It was actually on my birthday. It was on my 16th birthday. I was in New York,
Wow.
and I was at IMTA, and I was wearing like a long blue dress with some white Vans. Nothing crazy. And I went in there and super confident. I was like, hi. And she was like, give me your headshot. So I gave her my headshot, and I mean, you guys know this. I photograph like I look older. Like I don't look like I would be a 16-year-old girl most of the time. Like a lot of the times, like I look older, and I've been told that my entire life. And so she took my headshot, and she was like, so how old are you? And I was like, I'm 16. She was like, okay, well, why do you look 20? And I was like, I've been told that my whole life.
Get that mature
Yeah.
presence, you know?
I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, can't really do much about it. And she was like, okay, well, that dress needs to go, and the hair, yeah, needs to go, and the makeup needs to go. So, and I was like,
Wow.
okay. And she was like, but go ahead and do your monologue. So I did my monologue, and then she was like, okay, thank you, and didn't give me my headshot back or anything. She just kept it. So I was like, okay, thank you. And my mom was in there with me, and I turned around and I stormed out of that room, and like everyone from my agency was sitting in the hallway waiting until their turn to go in. And
Yeah.
everyone before me came out like super happy, like they like just got like a freaking huge job offer or something. So I was like, okay, I got this. I'm gonna go in
Yeah.
there and I'm gonna kill it. Like what? And I started bawling my eyes out. I was like, that was so rude. I like, especially because I had just started out. I had never
Yeah.
had a rejection like that
Yeah.
in my career, and I don't think I've ever had something like that still to this day. So it was definitely really hard for me, especially because I was new and upcoming in the industry. It kind of just like made me think like, okay, am I too old for this? Like, but I was 16, turning 18 in 2 years, so I was like, okay, I got 2 years, then I'll be good.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a big moment for me in the acting world. And I would say in the modeling, one of the most traumatizing things, I guess, would be at AZ Fashion Week last year. It was during the second show, I believe, the second show.
Second
And-
show was at the X,
Air
right?
Park.
Air
No,
Park.
that was the
Yeah.
first show. Yeah, the Air Park.
Yeah, Air Park, yeah.
So, and I was walking for Lamarck Cole, and I was feeling great, super excited for the show, walking for Lamarck Cole. My outfit was gorgeous. And then all of a sudden, I just started getting super anxious. Like, I was, like, getting really hot, and, like, I felt like I needed to throw up. And I was already in my outfit, and my outfit was so tight, I couldn't even sit down. So, like, having to throw up, I was like, I can't even throw up. Like, I can't. And I, like, could not stop crying. Like, no matter what I did, I literally couldn't stop crying. And I was, like, trying to talk to everyone. I was trying to, like, close my eyes and just kind of take a breather. And I was texting my mom, and I was like, I literally think I'm having an anxiety attack right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. I've never felt like this before. I've done 1,000 fashion shows, and this has never happened to me. And I really don't know what's going on. And, like, not knowing what was going on was also making me even more anxious because I was like, okay, what's happening? I've never felt like this before. So by the end of the night, after I'd walked out, I came back and my eases just went away. But it was scary. It was really scary because I was talking to Shannon and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And she was like, you can walk out of the show. Like, we won't be mad at you if you need to go home. And I was like, no. I'm already in my outfit. I sat in the freaking hair chair for an hour and a half. I've been here since 9 a.m. I'm not about to go home without walking on that freaking runway. Yeah. So I just sucked it up and I walked out. And then after that, I left. And the next day at the next show, I was fine. I don't know what happened, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was scary.
I like seeing that show. I would never guess.
Yeah,
you killed it.
Like, I would have never thought that.
Watching my videos back, I could kind of definitely tell in my face. I was like, I was trying really hard not to throw up on that runway, but I didn't do it. So
props for you. Yeah, props for you for recovering. It's like just having overcome that mental obstacle, whatever it is.
Yeah,
you just go for it.
Yeah.
So how was it being like part of the agency? Like, did they help you with modeling stuff, or like was there a benefit to that?
The Young Agency?
Yeah, or just any agency that you've been a part of.
The Young Agency, I would say they've helped me a little bit with modeling. They definitely got me my first fashion show, and they put me out like, kind of out in the modeling world. And I think. Well, I was still with them when I auditioned for the Polo Party, and I did the Polo Party too, and I saw a lot of models that were with the Young Agency too, like Vera, she was with the Young Agency at the time. So, but after that, a couple years later, I ended up ending my contract with them and moving on, and I signed with Signature Models and Talent, but I signed with them on their talent side. So I've booked mostly acting stuff with them. Modeling stuff, I've honestly just booked all through Instagram and social media and networking. I haven't really done a whole lot through an agency.
Okay. And like these agencies, did they kind of pick you up, or did you apply for them and do all that?
Well, funny story. I actually, when I was 9, I was at Signature Model and Talent, me and my brother, and Angie was talking to me. Angie's my agent, and I was like 9 at the time, and she asked me, she was like, okay, well, how bad do you want this? And I was like, I don't know, I could take it or leave it.
Playing nonchalant.
Yeah. So I was like, how bad do you want me? That's the real question. So yeah, she was like, just bring her back when she's ready. And I think I signed with them in 2022. Nice. And then I've been with them ever since, and I've booked a couple GCU commercials and stuff with them, but yeah.
Would you recommend that for like brand new models, or like what would you like think for someone just starting?
I wouldn't necessarily say brand new models, just because there is limitations when it comes to an agency. Like, it's hard because if you're with a non-exclusive agency, or if you're with an exclusive agency, it's kind of hard sometimes to do work locally and like do other stuff. And obviously they do like take percentages of what you're earning and everything. So I would say if you're trying to like start out, I don't know. I mean, it honestly depends. It really depends.
Which way you want to go, like which route?
Yeah, because for me, I went in with an agency and I did fine, but I've also met a lot of freelance models that have made it just as far, and I could say it's really just depends how much work you want to put in. If you want to put in a lot more work yourself, freelance, but if you kind of want that agent to kind of do some stuff for you, then get with an agent. But there's definitely some limitations that come with it, but I would just say it kind of just depends on like what you want necessarily.
Is with the agency you're with right now, is it exclusive or is it not exclusive? Like, what's the?
It's exclusive. Okay. Yeah. So it's just locally in Arizona. But gonna stay with them for a little bit longer. I still have my contract and everything. But once I move out to LA, I think I'm definitely gonna try and find an agent out there. And I honestly might still stay with Signature Model and Talent because it wouldn't hurt to have an agent out here and still be booking work out here. Especially because the more I am getting into the industry, I definitely am gonna want an agent to like look over everything because the more you get into it, the more people are gonna try and scam you and you know, take advantage of you. So having an agent definitely is not gonna hurt at all. So I don't know. I need to see what the future holds. Yeah.
So do you have just that one agent, or you like?
Yeah,
finding
well,
more?
I have a couple other agents, but Signature Model and Talent is my main agent. When I went to IMTA, I was with PMTM. They were my mother agency, and just a couple other smaller agencies around the U.S. Bailey's Entertainment in Florida, but Signature Model and Talent has been the only one that's been like booking me work and everything, and that I've been consistently, you know, reaching out to and applying.
Yeah, I think in that way where agencies help you find like the right deals and pick out the right deal for you, I think that's probably like the best way to work with an agent, because if you're just starting out, you don't know like what you need or how or what people need from you, and they'll just try to get the most out of you because they'll think like, oh, this is a big opportunity for them, you know. So like that's where an agent can like really like set that ground of being like, no, you're using my model, you know, type of thing like that.
There's definitely been a couple times too where I'm really happy I have my agency, because there's been a couple jobs that I've done where just kind of some sus stuff goes on in the background, but luckily I have my agent to take care of it, because if not, I would have to do it myself, and that's just, I don't want to do that. So
That's a good question, actually. What are some things that you consider as like red flags or things for people to look out for when someone's reaching out to you to work with them, whether it's modeling or acting or all that?
definitely people that are a little bit too demanding. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, but unfortunately, like, I have this or this coming up, or it's just not in my, I'm too far in my career, I don't need to be doing this right now. And just people that are being too pushy, like, they're trying to get something out of you that it's just, if you don't need it, then like just forget it. Like, you don't need to, like, no, if they need it that bad, then they're just desperate. Like, they can find other people, you know. And also, just any sort of scam. It's hard to find scams. I mean, I remember my mom, she woke me up one morning because this lady from Elite Modeling Agency was like, oh my gosh, I'm a modeling scout from Elite, and I would like to get on an Instagram call with you. First of all, an Instagram call is usually kind of weird. Usually it's like a Zoom or something. Like,
email.
if somebody's trying to call you off Instagram or anything, like, just don't.
And they have like
usually,
2 followers and like 2 pictures.
She had like
It's like
600
pixelated,
followers. And usually 600 followers, it's not bad, but if you're a modeling scout for Elite Agency, you should have more than 600 followers. She had no posts. She wasn't tagged in anything. She didn't have any highlights. She didn't have a bio. So right then and there, I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, you don't have anything on your page. Like, you don't have any tagged. And I don't think she was following anyone either. But, yeah, I would just say, like, keep a lookout for people that, like, seem sus and, like, what's on their page. There's been a lot of people that have reached out to me and asked me to do shoots with them. And I look on their page, and it's, like, all, like, nude content and, like, lingerie. And that's just, I mean, if that's the kind of content you do, that's the kind of content you do. But that's not what I do. So definitely
you got to do your research on that, because like the way I like to check too is like if they have a bunch of photos but you can see that they posted them all like 2 days ago or like the same day, but they have like 60
and
of
then they
them.
had that new account, but they've had so many photos. I'm like, okay, this is weird. You're trying to make yourself seem like someone that you're not.
So definitely like just watching out for all those people.
And
like
fake accounts too. There's a lot of fake accounts.
It's funny because that's actually one of my favorite activities, like scoping out scams and sus people who are reaching out to you. And I always love to I actually play along with it. Just all right, what angle are you trying to hit me with? Let's find out.
Yeah. That's
I'll go along with it. Sometimes act dumb, like super oblivious, and then when
I've had one where like someone was like I get this quite a bit. They message me and they're like, "Are you a video editor?" And then if I reply yes or whatever, they're like, "Oh, I have this video that I want you to edit," and blah blah blah. But their thing is like, I'll send you like the money, but they're like, "Oh, I sent too much. If you can return that back to me," and then like that's how they get you. Like if you don't know, like you'll be like, "Okay, that's fine," and then that's how they take your shit.
I've literally seen that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. They almost get the very first one that like I can't or that messaged me. They got so close, and then once they messaged me that, I was like, that's super sus. I'ma stop talking to them.
Yeah, I've
And
gotten
that's
pretty.
what I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to find that moment where like that's how you're trying to get me. Now I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten pretty familiar, especially after Korea. They teach you everything about scams
awesome,
and like
yeah.
like how they're scamming, what a scam is. So I've kind of gotten a good eye now for scams, and sometimes I just have to tell my mom. She'll be like, "Look, this person reached out for this job." I'm like, "No, Mom, don't fall into it. It's a trap. It's
Right,
a trap." And
really,
she's like,
really
"What?
dive
You don't
deep into
know?" I'm like,
everything.
"Mom, that's a trap. Look at their followers. Look at their posts. Like they don't have anything. They got like 2 followers. It's a trap."
Yeah, you
Like-
really have to like
Yeah.
hone in on it, because I remember when I got the first invite to Miami Swim Week, like I had never gotten an invite with them before, so like I thought it was a scam. I
Yeah.
was like, there's no way
Yeah.
like Miami Swim Week messaged me. Like I was like, how did they even find me, first of all? And then that's when I went to their website, I checked out the email, like what the at whatever, and like whoever sent this to me, and like after so much research, I was like, okay, this is the right people.
Yeah.
But like I had
Yeah.
to do so much just to make sure.
Yeah.
I actually have a funny, interesting story with that. Are you familiar with Victims? It's a designer, but he's based in more on the East Coast. But he's
I
an
don't think
independent independent designer. He does a lot of his own shows, but it was for Miami Swim Week. So he reached out to me 2 years ago. Was like, "Hey, I would love you to. I want to invite you to my show because I like your aesthetic." But it was some of the red flags you would normally have. It was like Gmail and all this other stuff, and all these things. I'm like, this seems sus. But at the same time, when I was like questioning, and grilling them, they would give me the right answers.
Yeah.
And it turned out it was a small team, and they're really great at what they do in content designer and stuff. But they were going through the channels. And eventually, I was like, I think this is legit, because it was like, it's weird, but like
Yeah.
I ended up going. But it was,
I know what you
and-
mean, yeah. Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
My friend Sydney Main, you guys know her. She just
Oh,
did
yeah.
that shoot with Kevin Hart
Yep,
with the
I saw
Qatar
that.
Airlines, and she
Oh,
was telling me
really?
about it. She was like, "Yeah, at first, because someone reached out to her. She didn't apply for that. Someone had reached out to her asking her if she was available for it." And she thought it was a scam because, like, obviously a freaking shoot with Kevin Hart, like, that's crazy. But it ended up being real. So, I mean,
That's
there's
dope.
definitely those texts that seem like scams, but they're the real deal. But you got to be careful, and you have to know, like, what to look for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, just from here, like everything you've done now, like where do you kind of see yourself progressing? Like now that you're going into acting, like where do you see yourself in like the next 3 years, 5 years doing that?
Definitely in LA at some huge production studio,
go.
filming movies, my own trailer, you know, eating some cheese
Right,
and
yeah.
crackers. But no, seriously, just honestly, just doing the same thing I'm doing now, just better and more. Making movies, applying for more roles, doing auditions, doing print work. Yeah, honestly, just building my craft more and more.
Nice.
I'm excited for you. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
to see the path, the journey, and see where
Thank
it
you.
goes from here.
Yeah,
you know?
you've been here for a while,
Yeah.
so.
I definitely want that moment where I'm at the gym or wherever, and I'm just there, and I look on the TV, and it's like, yo, I know her.
Or like
Yeah.
walk down
Big movie.
Scottsdale Mall and like
Yeah.
just see him on
Yes.
a billboard. Like
Yeah.
I'm low-key waiting for that day when like an Arizona Fashion Week model or just any model in Arizona that I've shot with is like on a billboard, because like I think that would be so cool.
I've had
Yeah.
that twice, actually. Those are actually those truly genuinely are some of my favorite moments, when it's just unsuspecting. You see someone you've known for a while that you worked with, and you're like, yo, they made it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Emily's for Urban Outfitters. That was
Yeah.
crazy, yeah. I've only been on one billboard, and it was when I did New York Fashion Week. Me and my mom, we were on a billboard in Times Square for Mark DeFang, and it was so
what?
cute.
That's
and
sick.
we weren't, I
Proud
forget
mother
why
moment.
we couldn't go out and see it, but we had people waiting at the billboard and like take a picture for us. It was like freaking 1 a.m., and they were sitting
That's
out there
dope.
waiting for the billboard.
You're gonna have to
but-
send that to us so we can put it on the
Oh, we
video.
will. I will.
Uh-huh.
I'll find the picture and I'll send it to you guys.
That's sick. How many, like, was that the only kind of thing where you've been on, or have you been in magazines or just?
Yeah, I was on the cover of Teen Shine Press, which is the first magazine I ever was in, and just a few smaller magazines. I think, how many? Like, I would say maybe like 6 small magazines, nothing too
Okay.
crazy.
Out anymore. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, people are like, "Oh, can I put your photo in my magazine?" And I'm like, "Sure, go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
it's already out in the public. Put it in a magazine. Wouldn't hurt." But yeah, I definitely am trying to get more into like having my face like not in like a show or in a movie, but definitely like on like magazines and billboards and like ads and stuff like that. I definitely want to start doing that more because I was walking through Target the other day, and I was just like looking at all the kids models, and I was like, damn, like that's crazy. These little kids in like Target, like that's so crazy.
Yeah, right.
But,
Probably
yeah.
just their agency that's like hitting
I
them
know,
up, being
and
like,
they're
hey, we
like,
have
hey,
this
go to
for
this
you.
shoot and try on some clothes and play with balls, and they're like, yay.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
Yeah.
So like, so you said you're just completely done with like fashion for now, and then just kind of sticking with.
I'm not done with fashion. I'm definitely still going to be doing print modeling and stuff. It's just fashion shows. I'm going to
Fashion
take a
shows is what I
break
kinda
with
meant.
Yeah.
for right now just because it's a lot. Like fashion shows are a lot. It's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of time. And for me, if I want to really get serious with the acting and pursue it like how I'm saying I'm going to pursue it, then I can't.
Do both. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
tough.
can't. 'Cause,
Prioritize one of them.
yeah, fashion shows, it's a lot of time that is being consumed. Like, I have to be there all day. And it's hard. It's a lot, you know, especially I've already done so many fashion shows that I'm like, it wouldn't hurt me to take a little break for now and
Yeah.
kind of give
Yeah.
other people the opportunity. But yeah,
Too true.
yeah. But I'm definitely still open to print everything. I'm just, fashion shows, just kind of putting it to the side for now.
And then focus on the acting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's where the growth is.
Yeah.
For you.
So just any kind of like last words before we start wrapping up, like anything that you want to just say to the viewers, anything about
Things-
yourself?
Yeah, let people know.
I would say if you have a dream, just keep going for it and you'll eventually get there. I never in a million years would think that I would be where I am today. Just looking back at like my 9-year-old self, like not wanting to act really and being like, yeah, and like now I'm in 7 movies and I'm on Amazon Prime. Like it's crazy. It's actually insane. So just keep doing what you do and keep going for what you want and you'll eventually get there.
There you
That's
go.
good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Heard it from Leila.
Sweet.
Yep.
But
Are we
yeah,
about to
thank you
wrap it up?
guys so much.
Yeah.
For watching this episode of the Snapshot Podcast. We had Leila on, an amazing actor, model, just overall social media personality. So we had a great time chatting with her, getting to know more about her. Any last words you got?
No, she's just killing the game, and
Thank you.
we're super proud of her, seeing the growth and
Thank you
where
guys
she's
so
gonna
much.
go. But yeah,
Sweet.
episode 5, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Peace.
Peace.